I'm Mr. Mo. I'm here as the head of school at Acton Academy, Silicon Valley. I'm also the guide for our Upper Elementary Discovery 2 studio. We don't look at education as us teaching. This whole school is for the students to learn. So the approach here is, instead of giving information to a kid, we think about how can we give a problem to a kid in a very fun and engaging way that they have to solve, and through that they learn whatever it is that they need to learn, and also realize for themselves why it's important and how to apply it. Yeah, so this environment, I think the best thing it brings out of the kids is resilience. It's the skill that I think will differentiate them across everything else because of the project and that they have and the environment they're in, with the independence that's given to them and the autonomy. They're running into problems and challenges every day, whether it's academic or whether it's social with their peers that they have to figure out. And that takes a lot of work, a lot of persistence. And what they get coming out of that is they really truly believe in themselves. They're confident that they can solve whatever it is they need to solve, and they accept that it's going to require work and creativity and thinking outside the box, depending on other people, and really truly having a growth mindset. I think what they really get is they will always accept that there is a wall. They will always know that I can go through this wall. I just have to figure out how. And I think that starts at our youngest age, and it's kind of the driving force behind all their work. This environment is, because we give them the independence, we have to make sure that they're set up to use the right tools and the frameworks and the processes that not only can they use in this environment, but also in their adult life. So for example, for our academics in math, as they're working on their math and they get stuck on a problem, in a traditional way, you may just go to your teacher, the teacher tells you how to solve the problem or provide the solution and say yes, good or bad. Here, before they can come to a guide, there's a whole process that they have to go through. So for example, they have to show that they have watch whatever lesson it is they need to watch. They have to show that they've attempted the problem, have gotten it wrong, and then they have attempted it twice, and before they can go to a friend to even get help, they have to have done it on paper. So that way when they go to a peer to get help, they have to come with a question instead of a I don't get this, explain it to me. It's more, I don't get this specific part, and here's what I've tried. And then they work with their peer to get that. And then if they're still stuck, then that's where the guide comes into play and is able to help them walk through the problem, to guide them to still discovering the answer on their own. What happens though, probably 95% of the time, they don't make it to the guide, right? And at first it's a very frustrating thing for the kids because they're having to redo the problem over and over again. But you see it a couple months into school and they accept that it's up to them and the effort they put in, and they've proven to themselves they can get through it. And that's kind of the way the processes are put into place. Before an adult can come in and rescue the learner, they're given tons of opportunities to fail and struggle with the support from the tools, the peers, and then the guide. So most importantly, I would point to our learners who have seen the growth in their math and academics by using this process. I think I would encourage anyone to just come in and observe how they do their work and how much independence they have. But for a new parent, the way I would ensure that is making sure that the parent is patient, because this skill isn't attained right overnight, but it's not just in our environment, that's how it is in life. And the most important skill you've got to have is the ability to learn. And if you're trying to master that at a young age, it's going to take you some time. And there's going to be a lot of resistance and lack of desire to do it. But that's where also the guides come in to gamify everything. So even though we present them with problems and challenges, we try to make it in the absolute most fun way as possible. And we come up with different motivational systems and making sure that we are checking them along the ways. They're setting their weekly goals, they're setting their daily goals. So a parent can always see the progress their child is making, even though they may not have moved in math, but they would see, hey, my kid attempted this problem 18 times and has tried this different approaches and now is moving towards. So I think there's a lot of value in the process versus just the end result, because they're going to get the end result and they're going to get it better than a normal school, because at our school it's mastery focused. You don't advance until you have mastered a topic. So I think the rigor is there and the standard is there, but that process is what we really want them to get, of being able to self-teach, being able to ask for help, but also being able to give help. There's no better way to show you've learned something than by teaching it to someone else, and that's what a lot of our learners do as they go to their peers for help. I'll focus in on the kid side, right? It's really beneficial because this makes it fun for them. They come to school and it's set up as a game. They're not coming here to school as a task or a chore or for my mom or dad because I need to pass this test or move on to this thing. They're coming here, everything is gamified. They go on these 6-week quests. They're the heroes, they're the main character in this game. So first of all, kids are naturally curious, and let's fuel that fire and keep them curious and get them excited to learn. Through this process, what they get is the belief in themselves that they are able to learn whatever it is they want. So it's that mindset, it's the growth mindset that instills them, that enables them to then do all the other things. But then as you kind of zoom out more as they grow, why this is beneficial is because it's the real life, right? Like none of us, as we try to find our passions, our interests, our calling, our careers, it's up to us, and we have to be the drivers here. So instead of them waiting till college or maybe even after college to say what it is that I want to do, how am I going to do it, we want to create that intentionality from the get-go, right? Like we always talk about goals, not as something just as a checklist, but more so, again, to instill that mindset and for them to be able to reflect internally and find meaning in their work and know why is it that their goal in math is important and why is it that they're learning about marine biology versus just for the test or because this is what's being taught in my mind. So learning becomes just a lot of fun, and I think it's a great way to just, appreciation for the world around them, so as they can remain curious as adults. I think we start to lose that curiosity. But here it's like, yes, keep on being curious and learn for the sake of learning. And you'll get a lot out of it professionally, personally, and always pushing yourself, out of your comfort zone. So the way my role as a guide, so we like to think of them as we're the game makers, right? So we're setting up the game here for the learners to play. We're the observers, figuring out what their strengths, weaknesses are, so we can design the game to bring out the best in them, to help them develop the areas they need to develop, but also to really utilize their strengths. So that comes with really getting to know the kids. But then we're the encouragers, we're their biggest cheerleaders, we're their support. We are the constant praisers of their effort. Ultimately, I end up explaining it to people is we're the Yoda, the Miyagi, that's real, or the Dumbledore, the yoga, the Miyagi, the Dumbledore for the kids, where we're not going to do anything for them and we are intentionally going to make it challenging for them. It's that mentorship. It's showing them, helping them see that this is the way that they've got to do it. They've got to choose the hard path and seek value in it for themselves and see why this is important. So that's the role of the guide. We create the problems. We make the problems as engaging and as fun as possible, and we help lift them up as they fall and until they can start to pick themselves up. The way we assess progress here at our school is first academically, everything they're doing is logged and it's electronic. We're using state-of-the-art, proven platforms, that are worldwide, well-known, well-funded research programs, which are very dynamic, and a lot of them are also powered, with AI that can be adaptive. They're keeping track of all their performance, figuring out what it is they need help with, what is not, and you can see exactly what they need to do. So one, that just at the micro level, all their academics, we can easily track and see the growth over time as they're coming upon it. But just going bigger than that, the way we assess progress is one of the coolest things about the school is we have exhibitions. So at the end of our session, all the learners put on an exhibition for the parents in which they present their learnings to the school community in a very engaging and creative way. Instead of just saying, here is what I learned, their goal is to try to get their parents to learn what they did and to design the exhibition for them. I don't need a test to assess what the learners have learned. A parent comes and sees for themselves how they can speak about the topic and how they can educate you on that. That's a big way we measure progress. And I think just from the feedback we get from the parents, the other way we see it is beyond the academics, it's the social, emotional, right? Their ability to create even an exhibition and delegate responsibilities, create a plan working across all different ages that ends up being executing smoothly, or if not, they learn why they failed and how to improve from it. That's a big way. Academically, everything is measured, and we have, again, a big emphasis on mastering each topic. So there isn't you get a C and you move on. You have to get your 100 and show you've mastered it, and then you move on. So the exhibitions happen about every 6 weeks, and they'll be based on the quest or the theme of that session, whether it's entrepreneurship, where the exhibition is a public children's business fair that's open to the entire community, or whether it's entomology, where they are the entomologists discovering new species of insects, every 6 weeks, and they've got to present it to the parents and engaging with. Yeah. All the exhibitions, we don't say how they want to do it. So we always give them about a week, because it starts off with everyone wants to do something, but they need cohesion. They need to figure out, they need to work amongst themselves to figure out who's going to do what, but what is actually our goal of this exhibition, and what are the ideas? How are we going to accomplish that goal? Let's vote on it. Let's fight over it, but ultimately come together. A lot of times as an adult, as a guide, as the head of school, that's hard to give up that control, but it is also a privilege at the school for us to just be able to step away and give the kids a space to try different things and genuinely learn from their mistakes. Because after each exhibition, they collect feedback from parents, and they measure it against their goals on how well we accomplished it, and then they make a plan on next time how they'll do it. They're proud to show it to their parents, because they didn't do it because someone told them to do it. This was their creation. It's the same way when you have a child and they build this Lego structure that they're really excited to show you. This is a thing, and then there's a lot of work that goes into it. The hero's journey is the main arc of, if you think about any significant character in a book, they're living a normal life and they get some call to adventure, whether it's something they discover or they're pushed to a new path. And along the way, maybe they meet a guide or other travelers on this path with them, where they are facing trials, right? And they're facing repeated failures, and ultimately some grand test, whether they either fail or get through, but then ultimately come out stronger on the other end and have something to give to their community or to the other world. And then that hero's journey, instead of just being a status quo, it's answering a call to an adventure. And that call to an adventure could be starting their own business. It could be taking on the next level of math. It could be becoming a big sister. It's seeing everything as the path of a hero, knowing that there's a purpose to what you're doing, accepting that there are challenges, accepting you're going to fail, but also knowing you're going to have guides and mentors and peers to help push you through, and that you will get through it as long as you don't give up. It's a mindset. One of our core values here is entrepreneurship, and it's presented to the kids as something you do to make money, but entrepreneurship as new ways to solve a problem. It is an application of their problem-solving mindset that we use every single day. So it's extremely important because it gives them an opportunity to create a business, which is, any adult can attest to, it's a very, very hard thing. It's challenging, but it requires them to think through, try something new, and really put it to test on a large stage to the community. It gives them exposure to the people to be able to hear their feedback, see their observations, but also being able to talk about something that they created, being able to be brave and being persuasive to the people on why it is that they're doing is worth someone else's time or someone else's money. But ultimately, it gives them the courage. We can always talk about courage, but unless we create the opportunities for the kids to actually step out of their comfort zones and be courageous, those words don't mean as much. So it's so critical for us to do the entrepreneurship and children's business fair every year, because it's something they look forward to. It's one of the biggest opportunities to learn and to continue to also, so for some of them, create a project that becomes an ongoing business. You start with that mindset of trying to create something and then sell it, persuade others at the age of 6 or 7, and you're doing that. Imagine where you are by the time you're 14 or 16, right? So it's identifying a problem you really want to solve and creating a solution for it, and being confident that you should pursue it, whether it's a business or it could be some other problem in your community. It's that same mindset, right? Not being afraid to go after the problem you want to solve, but being able to get the buy-in, being able to get the support from others, being able to present it, articulate your vision, being able to persuade and move forward on your mission. There are a lot of great things about this school, but my absolute favorite, it has to be watching the learners get excited to learn. It's simply just seeing someone get curious about something, knowing that they can really learn about it, not to be able to write about it or to take a test on it, but just appreciate it. Their eyes get really big, and then they want to go talk about it with their friends, or talk about it with their parents, and just watching the learners get really excited to explore something new. So it's I love seeing it. Their excitement and their grit and their resilience. But just learning to learn, right? Instead of to check boxes and move on. What we do see is there is a lot of acceleration as they master the skill of learning, as they figure out why it's important to them, their goals. So I think it's really important for their development because it helps them see the value of their learning. It takes off the pressure of learning just for the sake of school, but it's more like, hey, I want to learn more and no one's gonna stop me from learning. Your learning is not going to be capped and no one's going to tell you how to do it, but there are standards of excellence that in order for you to move along, you have to meet. Someone coming in from a traditional model, we see that they end up feeling very excited. It's almost as if they feel liberated in a way where the learning becomes available to them at their own pace, but with meaning and with intention, because that's emphasized there. We see like within a couple of months, they start to adjust because they just see it around them. They see their other peers who have been here take on those challenges, but more importantly, they see the existing peers help them in that process and give them the growth mindset praise and the encouragement and showing them that they are just as capable as anyone else and they're fully valued in this group and that we want to go on this adventure together. To the parents who are in a traditional model and you're looking at something like this, you can see the traditional model where the education, the information is being given to your child. They're asked to memorize it or learn it and then show it on a test. Whereas here, all of that education is being attained by your learner through hard work, through grit, through teamwork with their peers in a very fun and engaging way as they're solving the problem. So it's flipping the equation. Instead of here's information, take it in, here's a problem, a really fun one in an engaging environment, solve it and now you've learned it. And there's a much higher standard of excellence here because it's not just a grade you get here, you have to show that you have fully mastered the topic. So the skill set, you can feel secure in a traditional model because it's there, it's something everyone is used to, and in a much more engaging, fun way. The families that are a right fit for Acton are the families that want their children living life with intention and being ready to do whatever it is that they want to do. The families who want their child to be able to do things because it's something they want to do and also fully know and feel confident that they've got the skill set to do it, whether they've got the academics to do it, they've got their whole toolkit that's going to get them through, whether it's starting a business, whether it's working for NASA, whether it's becoming a guide, whatever it may be. So I think the ones who want to empower their children to live a life of curiosity and learning and just be ready for the world and not wait until they're in college or even after college to start thinking about how do I live in this world and why am I here? What do I want to do? Am I ready for it? So my vision as the head of school at Acton Academy, Silicon Valley is to walk in and see a completely learner-driven environment where the adults are the flies on the wall, the learners are doing what it is that they want to be doing, they're doing meaningful work, and they're doing it with intentionality and purpose without being dependent on anyone else. And without any compromise on excellence. They're self-governing, self-regulating, being able to communicate to each other and holding each other accountable. That's the environment. That's the vision that I have, that's the environment we're trying to create. Anyone can just drop into it and see it happening in real time.